Clive Barker's gruesome monsters showcase the twisted fantasies this genius creator can reach out to, from the infamous Cenobites and Candyman to the not-as-famous Rawhead Rex and the Book of Blood. His creations have always been far-fetched from reality, yet symbolically close to humanity, Hellraiser being his most famous creation. It has introduced us to the most gruesome creatures in the history of horror cinema. Today we are going to talk about two such Cenobites that are just as brutal as they look, the Siamese Twins. So, let's dive in. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Bloodline Twins, a twisted tale of fate and fear. The Siamese Twins are two of the Cenobites introduced in 1996's Hellraiser Bloodline, one of the initial must-watch Hellraiser creations before the franchise went downhill with forgettable sequels. These twins had very brief appearances in the film, but still managed to make their place on the list of the most gruesome-looking Cenobites. Before understanding their origin, we must delve into the circumstances that brought them to their distorted fate. In the year 2127, an engineer named Dr. Paul Merchant creates a space station named Minos for a large corporation, only to hijack it and take it out of orbit. He makes a robot solve the infamous Lament configuration puzzle, which tears the robot into shreds. Soon, a large army squad arrives and captures him. One of the squad members, named Rimmer, decides to persuade Paul to tell her the reason behind his action. When she goes to question him, Paul is bizarrely calm, despite being in shackles. Upon inquiring about his motives, Paul informs her that an evil has been unleashed on the space station, and he has to complete a mission that started centuries ago. He also reveals that he created this space station to capture this evil person he is talking about. He decides to tell her the story of his bloodline and asks if she will let him finish his mission once he has told her everything. It turns out that Paul is the descendant of Philip Le Marchand himself. Remember him? The guy who created the Lament configuration in the first place? The very puzzle that has the capability to open the gates of hell. In the year 1796, Philip, a French toy maker, created this infamous puzzle for a rich aristocrat who was obsessed with dark magic. Philip was blinded by the desire for money so that he could live a fulfilling life with his wife and soon-to-be-born child. After receiving the puzzle, the aristocrat and his servant, Jacques, called an innocent servant girl and murdered her. They proceeded to remove her inside, and the aristocrat used the Lament configuration and dark magic to open the gates of hell, eventually summoning a demon into the servant's body, naming her Angelique. They remarked that she would be bound to follow their order as long as they did not stand against hell's wishes. Unbeknownst to them, Philip had witnessed everything and, ridden with guilt, had decided to undo his creation in hopes of ridding the world of the evil he had mistakenly unleashed. He started working on another puzzle box that would be able to neutralize the first one. Soon, he arrived to steal the box, but found that Jacques had murdered the aristocrat, becoming the sole master of Angelique. Before he could steal the box, he was knocked out by Jacques, while Angelique distracted him. Jacques then remarked that Philip's bloodline was cursed because he had created the key to Hell's Gate. Before dying, Philip apologized to his wife, who had arrived at the scene, and asked her to run away. In the present day, Paul, who looks like a modern copy of Philip, remarks that since Philip's death, their bloodline has been tainted, with the curse following them through visions of the puzzle box, Hell's Portal, and the demon, Angelique. In 1996 America, another descendant, named John Merchant, kept dreaming of Angelique, and his grandmother also warned him about their family curse. He didn't believe in the old tales and continued his work as an architect. His latest Manhattan skyscraper landed him on the front page of a magazine cover. Angelique, who was living in Paris at the time with Jacques, noticed John's striking resemblance to Philip and decided to follow him to America. She asked Jacques for permission, as hell required her to end Philip's bloodline, but he refused to let her go. This broke their deal, as he went against hell's wishes, giving Angelique the pass to brutally slaughter Jacques, something she had wanted to do for centuries. She arrived in America, and it was revealed that John had built the same building that was shown at the end of the Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth film. The building was constructed with the cement in which the last protagonist, Joey, buried the puzzle box. Furthermore, due to the recurring dream, John had subconsciously designed the building's interior to resemble the Lament configuration box. Angelique seduced a man and lured him inside the building, where she followed her instincts to find the puzzle box from the previous film inside one of the walls. She then manipulated the man into solving the box. He eagerly followed her demand, believing she would sleep with him. This summoned the Hell Priest, Pinhead, to Earth, who killed the man as soon as he arrived. The two demons then joined forces to ensure that Philip's bloodline would end, knowing that one of his descendants would eventually end them. Angelique later visited John's workplace and learned that John had found Philip's original sketches, and using them, he had unknowingly been creating a design known as the Elysium configuration. This design functioned as an anti-lament configuration, capable of generating perpetual light and sealing the gates of hell forever. She tried seducing John, who began to fall under her charm, despite having a wife and child, even though he recognized her from his nightmare. Later, Angelique called him late at night to arrange a meeting, right after he had a sensual dream about her at the skyscraper. Pinhead and Angelique argued over her centuries-old technique of seducing men before killing them, which he disapproved of. Hell had changed since Angelique left, becoming more direct and brutal, unlike the patient and manipulative version she was used to. He remarked on how effective his no-nonsense torture methods were. Just then, the moment that is the reason for this video occurred. Two twin security guards patrolling the building stumbled upon a door that wasn't included in the blueprints. Upon entering, they came face to face with Pinhead and Angelique, who were still debating whose methods were superior. To showcase his torture ability, Pinhead tormented the twins by melting half of their faces using his supernatural powers. He remarked that he could sense their fears and revealed that both were terrified of being separated from one another. Pinhead then promised them they would never be apart and continued contorting their bodies until the twins were forcefully conjoined on one side in the most unnatural manner. Pinhead sent them to the transforming chamber of hell, where a more skilled engineer could further contort them. Later, John refused Angelique's advances, prompting Pinhead to resume his methods. He abducted John's wife and son to lure him into his new skyscraper building. John freed his family by sending his son down the elevator and his wife down the stairs. The hellbound Chatterer Beast started chasing her when she stumbled upon the configuration box that Angelique had found and sent the hound back to hell. Their son was captured by Angelique, who forced John to initiate the Elysium configuration. It turned out that Angelique had acquired a taste for the human world and wanted nothing to do with the new evolved version of hell that Pinhead had described to her. The new hell seemed more hellish, even to the demon. Unfortunately, John's faulty prototype failed to initiate the configuration, at which point Pinhead brutally decapitated him. John's wife arrived just in time to save their son and used the puzzle box to send the two demons back to hell. Presently, Paul remarks that John's son had carried on the bloodline, and Paul began having strong visions about their mission while growing up. This led him to create the spaceship as a mean to finally close the portal to hell. Paul asks Rimmer to help him fulfill his mission, but the squad captain, Edwards, orders Paul to be detained in a cell until they leave the station. Meanwhile, Pinhead had already arrived when the robot completed the configuration in the first scene. He is accompanied by his pet, Chatterer Beast, and now Cenobite Angelique, and the completely transformed Siamese Cenobite twin. But they are trapped in a room, not for long though, as Pinhead mimics a child's voice to trick one of the squad members into freeing them. They start moving in shadows, luring men into isolated corners, and torturing them before killing them. The twins kill Captain Edwards by first separating from one another and then reattaching themselves, with Edwards in between them, brutally crushing and absorbing the proud captain. Of course, now only Paul and Rimmer are left alive, forcing Rimmer to release Paul to do whatever it takes to get the hell out of the space station. Paul soon comes face to face with Pinhead, while Rimmer fights off the Chatterer Beast. Pinhead taunts Paul, saying he is destined to continue the miserable fate of his bloodline. Paul disagrees, and voila, he disappears. It turns out demons are too dumb to differentiate a hologram from a real human. Paul used his hologram to distract Pinhead, while he remains safely tucked away in a space shuttle with Rimmer. Before Pinhead can wrap his pinned head around modern technology, Paul initiates his plan. It is finally revealed that the space station is a modified version of both Philip and John's creation, this time a perfected Elysium configuration. The configuration initiates a large field of powerful laser lights that create a massive puzzle box. As soon as the shuttle is out of reach, the configuration self-destructs, killing all the Cenobites inside the space station, finally disconnecting Hell and Earth forever. Well, at least for this film. The haunting appearance of Siamese twin Cenobites. The end result of the transformation process was jarring, to say the least. The twin brothers had their faces twisted together in opposite directions, and the edges of their mouths were pulled open with hooks. They appeared to resemble the happy versus sad drama masks that portray comedy and tragedy. Due to being forcefully crushed together and ending up conjoined at the sides, the two did not have their inside arms. Both twins wore a leather outfit like other Cenobites, but it had a diamond-shaped cut in it. The human versions, as the security guard twin, were played by Dave and Jim Schulke. They even own a YouTube channel by the name of Twin Home Experts, where they have talked about how they chanced upon being cast in this remarkable film while working as home experts. Sounds so similar to how they stumbled upon their Cenobite role. The transformed Cenobite twins were played by Mark and Michael Polish, informally known as the Polish Brothers. They are American twin filmmakers, where Michael usually directs the film, and Mark often takes an acting role in them. Although completely normal as human, the Siamese Twins, also known as the Bloodline Twin, once turned into Cenobites, became completely mute, as most Cenobites do. They were bound to silently follow orders as members of Pinhead's gang. At least they were together, right? Marvelous verdict. Although there aren't many details about the Siamese twin Cenobites, they still leave their mark as some of the most sinister-looking Cenobites in horror film history. It's wild how an innocent mistake made by two excited twins led them into the deepest pits of hell, where they eventually ended up in the Hell Priest's army. It's a shame that they were deleted from Hellraiser, much like the Cenobites Raven and Spike. We can only imagine all the gory adventures they joined Pinhead on from 1996 until their apparent death in 2127. That was it for the twin Cenobite. Which Cenobite's disappearance still upsets you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.